Whatever Mum's sayings drowned out by the grimy roar of the bus pulling away, revealing a pub called the Fox and Hounds. The sign shows 3 beagles cornering a fox. They're about to pounce and rip it apart. A street sign underneath says Westwood Road. Mum said that lords and ladies are rich, so I was expecting swimming pools and Lamborghinis, but Westwood Road looks pretty normal to me. Normal brick houses, detached or semi-detached, with little front gardens and normal cars. The damp sky's the colour of old hankies. 7 magpies fly by. 7's good. Mum's face is inches away from mine, though I'm not sure if that's an angry face or a worried one. Nathan, are you even listening? Mum's wearing makeup today. That shade of lipstick's called Morning Lilac, but it smells more like Pritt Stick than lilac. Mum's face hasn't gone away, so I say, what? It's pardon or excuse me, not what. Okay, I say, which often does the trick. Not today. Did you even hear what I told you? It's pardon or excuse me, not what. And before that, I said, if anyone at Lady Greyer's asks how we came here, you're to tell them we arrived by taxi. I thought lying was wrong. Well, there's lying, says Mum, fishing out the envelope she wrote the directions on from her handbag, which is wrong, and there's creating the right impression, which is necessary. If your father paid what he's supposed to pay, we really would have arrived by taxi. Now, Mum squints at her writing. Slade Alley leads off Westwood Road about halfway down. She checks her watch. Right, it's 10 to 3 and we're due at 3. Chop chop, don't dawdle. Off Mum walks. I follow, not stepping on any of the cracks. Sometimes I have to guess where the cracks are because the pavement's mushy with fallen leaves. At one point I had to step out of the way of a man with huge fists jogging by in a black and orange tracksuit, their Wolverhampton Wanderers colours. Shining berries hang from a mountain ash. I'd like to count them, but the clip-clop of Mum's heels pulls me on. She bought the shoes at John Lewis's sale with the last of the money the Royal College of Music paid her, even though British Telecom sent a final reminder to pay the telephone bill. She's wearing her dark blue concert outfit and her hair up with a silver fox head hairpin. Her dad brought it back from Hong Kong after World War II. When Mum's teaching a student and I have to make myself scarce, I sometimes go to Mum's dressing table and get the fox out. He's got jade eyes and on some days he smiles, on others he doesn't. I don't feel, well, knitted today, but the Valium should kick in soon. Valium's great. I took 2 pills. I'll have to miss a few next week so Mum won't notice the supplies going down. My tweed jacket's scratchy. Mum got it from Oxfam, specially for today, and the bow tie's from Oxfam too. Mum volunteers there on Mondays so she can get the best of the stuff people bring in on Saturdays. If Gaz Ingram or anyone in his gang sees me in this bow tie, I'll find a poo in my locker, guaranteed. Mum says I have to learn how to blend in more, but there aren't any classes for blending in, not even on the town library notice board. There's a Dungeons and Dragons club advertised there, and I always want to go, but Mum says I can't because Dungeons and Dragons is playing with dark forces. Through one front window I see horse racing. That's Grandstand on BBC One. The next 3 windows have net curtains, but then I see a TV with wrestling on it. That's Giant Haystacks, the hairy baddie fighting Big Daddy, the bold goody on ITV. 8 houses later I see Godzilla on BBC Two. He knocks down a pylon just by blundering into it, and a Japanese fireman with a sweaty face is shouting into a radio. Now Godzilla's picked up a train, which makes no sense because amphibians don't have thumbs. Maybe Godzilla's thumb's like a panda's so-called thumb, which is really an evolved claw. Maybe... Nathan! Mum's got my wrist. What did I say about dawdling? I check back. Chop chop. Don't dawdle. So what are you doing now? Thinking about Godzilla's thumbs. Mum shuts her eyes. Lady Greyer has invited me, us, to a musical gathering, a soiree. There'll be people who care about music there, people from the Arts Council, people who award jobs, grants. Mum's eyes have tiny red veins like rivers photographed from very high up. I'd rather you were at home playing with your Battle of the Boars landscape too, but Lady Grey insisted you come along, so you have to act normal. Can you do that, please? Just think of the most normal boy in your class and then do what he'd do. Acting normal is like blending in. I'll try, but it's not the Battle of the Boers, it's the Boer War. Your ring's digging into my wrist. Mum lets go of my wrist. That's better. I don't know what her face is saying now. Slade Alley is the narrowest alley I've ever seen. It slices between two houses, then vanishes left after 30 paces or so. I can imagine a tramp living there in a cardboard box, but not a lord and lady. Well, no doubt there'll be a proper entrance on the far side, says Mum. Slade House is only the Greyers Town residence. They're proper homes in Cambridgeshire. If I had 50p for every time Mum's told me that, I'd now have £3.50. It's cold and clammy in the alley, like White Scar Cave in the Yorkshire Dales. Dad took me there when I was 10. I find a dead cat lying on the ground at the first corner. It's grey like dust on the moon. I know it's dead because it's as still as a dropped bag, and because big flies are drinking from its eyes. How did it die? There's no bullet wound or fang marks, though its head's at a slumped angle, so maybe it was strangled by a cat strangler. It goes straight into the top 5 of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Maybe there's a tribe in Papua New Guinea who think that the droning of flies is music. Maybe I'd fit in with them. Oh, come along, Nathan. Mum's tugging my sleeve. I ask, shouldn't it have a funeral like Gran? No, cats aren't human beings. Come along. Shouldn't we tell its owner it won't be coming home? How? Should we pick it up and go along Westwood Road, knocking on all the doors, saying, "Excuse me, is this your cat?" Mum has good ideas sometimes. Well, it'll take a bit of time, but forget it, Nathan. We're due at Lady Greyer's right now. But if we don't bury it, crows will peck out its eyes. We don't have a spade or a garden round here or anything. Well, Lady Greyer should have a spade and a garden. Mum closes her eyes again. Maybe she's got a headache today. This conversation's over. She pulls me away and we go down the middle section of Slade Alley. It's about 5 houses long, I'd guess, but hemmed in by brick walls so high you can't see anything. Just sky. Keep your eyes peeled for a small black iron door, says Mum. It should be set into the right-hand wall. But we walk all the way down to the next corner, and it's 96 paces, with thistles and dandelions growing out of cracks, but there's no door. After the right turn, we go down another 20 paces until we're out onto the street, parallel to Westwood Road. A sign says Cranberry Avenue. Parked opposite's a St John's ambulance. Someone's written "Clean Me" in the dirt above the back wheel. The driver's got a broken nose and he's speaking into a radio. A mod drives past on a scooter like off Quadrophenia, riding without a helmet. Riding without a helmet's against the law, I say. Oh, it makes no sense, says Mum, staring at the envelope. Oh, unless you're a Sikh with a turban, then the police will... A small black iron door. I mean, how did we miss it? Well, I know. For me, Valium's like Asterix's magic potion, but it makes Mum dopey. She called me Frank yesterday, that's Dad's name, and didn't even notice. She gets 2 prescriptions for Valium from 2 different doctors because one's not enough, but... And then a dog barks just inches away, and I've shouted and jumped back in panic and peed myself a bit. But it's okay, there's a fence, and it's only a small yappy dog. It's not a bull mastiff, it's not that bull mastiff, and it was only a bit of pee, and still my heart's hammering like mad, and I feel I might puke. Mum's gone out onto Cranberry Avenue to look for big gates to a big house, and hasn't even noticed the yappy dog. A bold man in overalls walks up carrying a pair of paint-spattered step-ladders over his shoulder. He's whistling, "I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony." Mum cuts in. "Excuse me, do you know Slade House?" The whistling and the man stop. "Do I know what house?" "Slade House. It's Lady Greyer's residence." "No idea, but if you find her, tell her I fancy a bit of posh if she fancies a bit of rough." Ah! He tells me, "Love the dicky bow, son," and turns up into Slade Alley, picking up his whistling where he left off. Mum looks at his back, muttering, "Oh, thanks a heap for bloody nothing." "I thought we weren't supposed to say bloody..." "Don't start, Nathan. Just don't." I think that's Mum's angry face. Okay. The dog stopped yapping to lick its willy. We'll backtrack, Mum decides. Maybe Lady Greyer meant the next alley along. She goes back into Slade Alley and I follow. We reach the middle section just in time to see the stepladder man vanish round the corner of the far end where the moon-grey cat's still lying dead. "If someone killed you down here," I remark, "nobody would see." Mum ignores me. Maybe that wasn't a very normal thing to say. We're halfway down the middle bit when Mum stops. I'll be jiggered! And there's a small black iron door set into the brick wall. It's small, all right. I'm 4 feet 11 inches, and it's only up to my eyes. A fat person will need to squeeze hard to get through. It has no handle, no keyhole, or gaps around the edges. It's black. Nothing black, like the gaps between stars. How on earth did we miss that? Says Mum. Oh, some Boy Scout you are. I'm not in the Scouts anymore, I remind her. Mr. Moody, our Scoutmaster, told me to get lost, so I did, and it took the Snowdonia Mountain Rescue Service 2 days to find my shelter. I've been on the local news and everything. Everyone was angry, but I'd only been following orders. Mum pushes the door, but it stays shut. How on earth does the bally thing open? Maybe we ought to knock. And then the door pulls my palm up against it, and it's warm. And as it swings inwards, the hinges shriek like brakes. Maybe just one more scene, is it okay? And we're looking into a garden. A buzzing, still summery garden. The garden's got roses, toothy sunflowers, spatters of poppies, clumps of foxgloves, and lots of flowers I can't name. There's a rockery, a pond, bees grazing, and butterflies, and it's epic. Cop a load of that, says Mum. Slade House is up at the top, old, blocky, stern and grey, and half smothered by fiery ivy, and not at all like the houses on Westwood Road or Cranberry Avenue. If it was owned by the National Trust, they'd charge you £2 to get in, or 75p for children under 16. Mum and I have already stepped in through the small black iron door, which the wind closed like an invisible butler, and currents are pulling us up the garden, round by the wall. Well, the Greyers must have a full-time gardener, says Mum, or even several of them. At last, I feel my Valium kicking in. Reds are glossier, blues glassier, greens steamier, and whites see-through like one layer of a 2-ply tissue. I'm about to ask Mum how such a big house and its garden can possibly fit into the space between Slade Alley and Cranberry Avenue, but my question falls down a deep well with no bottom, and I forget what I've forgotten.